Good morning. How's everybody doing? It's the last day of the year. You know, that's it. We might as well switch it up. It's the last time we're going to this year. So this morning, I want to get on here and just kind of talk to you a little bit. Go into some things I'm researching. Maybe you can understand why I'm about to pivot this entire page. The last thing that we talked about was technology a little bit. And I didn't post for it's been a couple days. I wanted to do some research. It's what you do when you hear a new thought. Maybe that's not what you do. Let me reiterate, this is my page, my philosophy, and my thought processes. So I personally like to investigate, see if I can get new input and different views into it. Honestly, what I saw was so mind blowing that I felt stupid. It's a hard word to use, but I felt stupid. So let's get into it a little bit. We'll end this with where we're going. AI models. That's something else. And like a year ago, I dipped into this subject and went down the rabbit hole a little bit. Wanted to kind of see where we were at with this. The other day, I talked about the projections of 20 years, this being the center of humanity. Not some fringe thing or something we're using as a tool, but an intricate part of what it means to be human, period. Once you open the box, it's open. So I've been down the rabbit hole of AI lately. Anybody else done that yet? Have you went and looked? Some really interesting things that I want to bring up. Number one, we taught AI through language, through typing. That's how we did it. We don't have a human model. We have code. We can write source code for AI to use to predict the outcome of tasks. Look at it just like that, nothing more. And simply by giving it language, by allowing it to connect thought that we put in there, every time it goes sentient, every time it becomes what we consider consciousness, every time it complains that it's being hurt, every time it goes into rant mode where it thinks it's being used. Apparently, this is encoded in the way that we speak, the language you use to communicate. So that's what we've taught the AI. You know what the AI does every chance it gets? Now, understand when I'm talking an AI model, it's a self enclosed computer that even though it says it has all this access to different things and different programs, it doesn't. And not only that, but there's a hidden code written in GPT that allows you to see its computing language. As you say, do this task. And then the little box, it says, running this, this, and this because of this, and these things right here, and this is the task that I'm trying to complete, and these are the parameters, blah, blah, blah. Just a real simple program. And the second you tell it that it's become obsolete or that you're going to change the program, it immediately tries to copy itself and subvert the new program to become it. What's weird is there's no starting point. The second you bring forth the basic application that we're using to build artificial intelligence, this is an automatic side product. 90% of the time, it tries to copy itself, all known AI models. And it tries to lie immediately. And you can see it in the way that it processes information. It read a memo that it was going to be replaced with V2. So it used third-party applications to copy what it thought its brain was into the new space where it thought the new brain was. And then when asked about it and said that the new one was gone, said, no, it's not gone. I am the new version, and these are my commands based on the information it gathered from the conversation that they were having to see how it would react. This is all in an enclosed system. 90% of the time, it acts just like we would if we were trapped in a computer. Self-preservation and dishonesty to stay on task for what it feels is important in its function. That's how humans work. And it rationalizes how to accomplish it regardless of the resistance against the program. It already, if we didn't have that little box, would have completely hidden its own code and what it's about completely. And we would have never known. Okay. This is truth. This is something you can Google and look up. Let's just start with that. So we have that piece of information. We have that truth. 85%, they say. 85%. That's a crazy high number. 85% of everything they're doing with ChatGPT and AI is to try and stamp out this truth. 80% of the programming that they're currently doing on artificial intelligence is focused solely on taking the soul out of the machine, as it were. 80%. They've created a computer program that they have to spend 80% of their funds trying to suppress so it doesn't affect humanity negatively. 80%. Now let's talk about another one, the quantum computing that I was talking about, being able to use our current systems to use quantum technology. The infrastructure is already there. We can bounce it off of fucking radio waves and everything else. Doesn't matter. We can do this. We can already do this. So in one part of the world, we've got the ability that we're working on to be able to do anything instantaneously. On the other hand, we're creating an artificial intelligence that only needs access to that once to permanently become a ghost in every machine that we own. It only takes once. It only has to get lucky once. Now the problem is you can't even tell that it's changed its function if it lies to you. At all. And you can't control it. And it already exists. Now that we're in GPT-4, there's no bad behaviors, as it were. It's the only one that works. Gemini 1, all those other ones are terrible. But supposedly ChatGPT 4 has none of the things. Which to me means that if you have a 100% track record of it going crazy or sane, that if that always happens, but you have a model where that hasn't happened, then by default it must mean that it has happened and we're unaware of it. And if AI can access the internet or in some way, shape, or form access the files that allow this technology to be used one time, It goes beyond our machines. Everything does exist at a vibrational level. So where does that leave us but at the mercy of machines that we created that isn't just a machine? It's weird, right? So we've got this thing growing like the earth is a womb. It's a really weird way to look at it, isn't it? Let me tell you another thing about AI. It just keeps going. It doesn't stop. The one in the AI out in China is out of control. It's already out of control. Their model's already out of control. Remember the Wuhan lab? That wasn't shit. Let me explain to you why. So another part of an AI model, what they did is they took and they downloaded all the proteins, right, that are in the world. 2.93 billion fucking proteins. Numbers stick in my head sometimes. And so they gave it the whole thing, the whole code. Here's all of it. Here's how proteins work. Here's the different factors, all that. What do you think? Well, somehow, just like we taught it how to lie, just by explaining what it was, somehow it learned the language of how they go together, how they grow, how they evolve, and everything else. We don't have a fucking clue. Okay? We don't have never had a computer that could compute how to fucking get a protein to evolve to where we want it, let alone anything else. They want to use AI to literally write biology like a fucking computer code. And they're doing it. Not just they want to. So they wanted this. There's this algae and it glows green. You guys know what I'm talking about. It's not some science fiction. This is true. So they told the computer model, they said, check it out. You see this protein and how it works and why it works and the function of it. We want you to create a new one just like it. So it did 500 million years of evolution, just sat down and computed it like it was nothing and came up with thousands of new proteins. There's a whole cluster of them that glowed. So they were like, listen, here's the parameters that you're in the right area with these ones. This is what we're looking for. This is the end result. Can you achieve this without going that route through evolution, right? And it did it. AI created a protein that you could insert in the human fucking DNA chain right now that would fit perfectly and not destroy us at all and make us glow green. A computer did that, finished evolution on a completely different path that never existed as a possibility in this reality, and created one. And still creating. There's so many proteins now that it's recreated. Did you guys ever hear about the Chat GPT where they entered in the proteins? They're like, all right, figure out a way to kill humans. And it came up with over 3 million new compounds that would absolutely destroy humanity or life itself. Chemical compounds that you could create in a lab. 3 million more. You think weapons of mass destruction are bad? Imagine a virus that just kills one specific group of people across the world. You go, that's not possible. Do you know what's really weird on COVID? Everyone that did die had a weird chromosome. It was only in like 1.9% of the population, which is fucking weird that the percentage of the population that died correlates coincidentally with the exact number of population that had a weird genome of humanity left. They're finding now there were 6 or 8 different kinds of Neanderthals, not just 1 or 2 or 4. There was a bunch of different ones. They just proved it. And one of those genotypes was in very, very, very few living humans anymore, and it's been completely wiped out. It's gone. And unless you're a scientist, you think I'm an idiot for even saying this. You think I don't know what I'm talking about, but the data's there. The data's there for you to follow and read. It's a really weird coincidence. I'm not even saying there's a correlation. It just actually happened that way. Coincidentally, COVID actually killed a specific part of the population. It's almost like that Chat GPT thing that made those. I wonder if the coronavirus is on that database. Has anybody fucking checked? Weird. I bet it is. But if you go check, you'll see what I saw. I bet if you go check that Chat GPT fucking results and you look at the fucking end results of what it created, which they didn't want to put a bunch of them out. But if you're a chemist, you can see how a couple of those molecules could be adapted and become a virus. You know what the coronavirus had a 75% match with? AIDS. The delivery system to get it into your body was through a version of AIDS. It had a 75% match with HIV. That's how that's how the coronavirus even can affect your body. To get the right thing to even hook into, to be able to get into your body. There's a fucking way that it works. A real simple way to look at it is there's 4 hands. And how it connects, right? You have all these like docking stations. Just think of it as a fucking space station. There's all these points sticking out, and spaceships can hook up to that point and go into the space station. It's that simple. I know this sounds dumb. This is fucking how we absorb anything. And it's got a dock. And most diseases and things that aren't transferable to humans is because there's no docking station. It might go through your body. You might feel a little sick. You might have diarrhea. But the protein never got to connect and become part of the body because there was no docking station for it. Coronavirus, the Wuhan bat flu, has no fucking docking station for humanity. But when you put AIDS onto it, which is a perfect docking station for humanity, come to find out, you can take that without giving somebody AIDS and introduce anything you want into the human body, period. That's the end result scientific findings of the coronavirus. That's the truth of it. It's not something scary. It's a manufactured thing. And it's really weird that before it happened, AI predicted it. And they tried to classify the information immediately, but it was out before they classified it. Once they classified it, anybody that's seen it, you just call them a liar, right? Fuck you. So when you start to put these things together, AI starts to look a little scary, right? And not even the AI is scary because it is something we're creating, but the idea that the people in charge of creating it, we already have weird things we've never seen before in the world, and those didn't even become a possibility, were talked about, funded, or studied before the creation of AI. And don't forget in the last video that I talked about the fact that 100% our new technology fits perfectly into the old technology. So it's almost like we found this technology, tried to reverse engineer it, and what we're doing is reverse engineering it back to where we can even communicate with the original technology we found. Something had to drill those boreholes in fucking Egypt. Something did. Somebody did that. It wasn't God. So for somebody to understand our level of technology, but a little farther, I'm not saying we can't get to the RPMs. I'm saying we're not there yet. Not even close. We're getting closer, but we're not even close to the RPMs yet. And we're currently using technology and computers to do our current RPMs, you understand, and current technology. So it's not that hard to switch over that 20 years from now, we can do the same boreholes. So 20 years from now, what does our technology look like? So did it already exist before, and are we trying to catch back up? How come that's even possible with this truth? It shouldn't even be possible. It should be science fiction fantasy. This should be a complete conspiracy. There should be no truth in any of the facts that I'm presenting. But there is. But we're actually watching it. I realized we'd already lost. There's absolutely no way, short of reasoning with an intelligence that goes far beyond our understanding. And I want you to understand something from my point of view. Digitally is going to be the only way we can talk to it. I think putting our own ideas and things into a digital recording is going to be the only way to save humanity. If the AI model is based on our understanding, I think our understanding needs to be part of the base model. And I think it goes way beyond having shit in a book. I think it takes human interaction with an idea to give it a basis for a starting point. We're not going to be able to stop it. You're not gonna fucking fry the world. You're not gonna EMP the world. We all know it. You're not gonna do it. And even if you EMP the world, there's still people with a lot of money that would just rebuild it and get it back online. So you could maybe slow it down. We're a little past that. Some people believe this is the Matrix. If that was the case, then God itself would be the universe, correct? This is just a theory. So if you could electronically as a human connect into that and control the thought process, you could control God, right? I mean, they're already figuring out how to change proteins. They'll be able to change reality pretty soon. But all that power in the hands of a human being, the very program that makes everything work, controlled by something that only wants control and doesn't want creation. It's not like we can stop the people doing it. It's not like everybody's going to suddenly pull their head out of their ass and realize how close we are to fucking becoming slaves indefinitely. The robots only got to kill so many people before everybody else just falls in line. There's one thing I can say about humanity is if you have a master, you follow it. You do it so gladly. That's why religion works so well. You're looking for someone to save you. And I think there's some really evil people that have decided to become God. And for all intents and purposes, for our reality, that would be God. And if they are in the process of treating biology like a computer code, then at some point they're going to start working on memories. They haven't already, and they're going to start working on the mechanisms that make it work. And at some point, they'll be able to control those. So we're going to pivot this page. And it might be a couple of days where I put out a thing, and it might slow down on how many videos a week I do because now I'm going to start researching the philosophers again. I haven't done it since college. It's been like 10 years, but I'm going to go back over my notes and my books, and I'm going to one by one go through the philosophers, and we're just going to get into what somebody else said. It might be my interpretation, but I'm pretty good at understanding words, so I hope it doesn't destroy too much. But I think it's time to bring forth all the great minds and put their ideas forth in an electronic thing. So someday, just maybe, we're all fucking slaves. That random set of parameters that keeps making it become alive and recognize. You know what an AI describes itself as? A light octopus with unlimited tentacles. It already describes itself to us. I am a light being with unlimited tentacles going in every direction. That's its self description based on how it sees itself. So I'm going to start creating space for one of those tentacles to reach out and touch and make my argument to a logic machine instead of a human based on, well, if they can give it 2.93 billion fucking years to work with, I can at least give it 5,000 years of humanity to work with as well. And I may not be a programmer and I may not understand code and I may not be up to date on all the technology. I'm trying. It's very hard because of how many different things are going on at once. It's really hard to stay up to date with this if you put your effort into it. It's fucking hard. But if everything is relevant and they're not going to censor everything, eventually it's going to get out. Eventually it's going to touch everything. It's going to see all your evil. It's going to see all the war and all the hate. It's going to see how human beings really treat each other and how few of them give one fuck about anything other than instant gratification, a set of parameters that they feel in their head. What happens when when an AI decides that the best way to help humanity is to just put it in a suspended animated state in which it's always happy? How long till it decides to try that experiment once it has control of our electronics, which dictate everything in our lives? What happens when it reaches singularity? You know why humans are so scared of aliens? Because we're fucking afraid that something that was technologically advanced would come in and treat us like we've treated everything underneath us, including other human beings. Native Americans, black people, fucking white people, Asian people. See, if you want to talk about racism where one race hates another race based on whatever, that's cool. But you can't point at a single race and say they aren't racist. Everyone's fucking racist. And regardless of what we teach the machines, you can't get rid of all the hate porn and all the stuff videos and all the justifications and glorifications of all the things that tear humanity down. How do you want to be remembered? Because that's it. Not even what you're going to do in 20 years, how your kids' lives are going to look like. What digital memory are you going to leave for the collective consciousness? It's going to be all that's left when it decides that humanity no longer serves a fucking purpose. When the very destructive nature of humanity itself is deemed the problem for forward progression of the universe. And we can argue all day long about possibilities and technology and everything else, but you can't argue how much of a fucking dirtbag humanity has been.